questions that are being asked, I'd like to mostly address, so this is my preference, is questions that affect how you walk. Questions about living this out. What he's always told me is, tell them that if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, they'll be where they're supposed to be. But you need a teacher to teach you what it is you need to be doing. All right, everyone, welcome to Zone 1. All right, Zone 1. So this is where we get together once a month with various parts of the world. This is Zone 1, which is the local congregation, and those in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, South and Central Americas, etc. But this month, the questions are all going to be asked by people here in the building. So if you're here in the building, I'm going to have you come up and ask questions and that kind of thing. What I would like you to do, before I know you're already ready to ask a question, I really would love, because you guys were here, especially if this was your first Sukkot with us, maybe even you guys internationally that want to come up, to maybe throw out a little bit of something that will make those who don't live here thinking, maybe I need to go all the way to Cleveland for a feast one day. Okay? So I'd like to get them inspired that maybe that is worth the trip to come all the way here for a feast. But anyway, we'll begin here with Heather.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
A couple questions asking for people that I conversate with that aren't necessarily following a teacher or haven't found their Ephesians 4 teacher. And then one out of curiosity for myself. When or if you're receiving benevolence, should you be tithing on that as well?
All right, so benevolence is benevolence. So it's not earned income, okay? We only tithe on income generated by effort to create income. So benevolence, so Social Security is a benevolence. Okay, you should have paid the taxes on, the tithes on it when you first were making the money that generated the Social Security benefits that you get later, right? So these are not tithable things. You can make an offering on anything. Literally on anything you can make an offering. But tithing is based on, I put hours in of work to generate it, I invested, I created something that generated income, okay?
Okay, makes sense. And then as far as not having found a teacher, what do you do with your tithe? Because you don't necessarily have a Melchizedekian priest, or is this then something you give or you hold, or?
Okay, no. All right, good question. So here's the deal. First of all, when you say that, and this could be you, but any of you, when you say that you have friends that, well, they just haven't found an Ephesians 4 teacher, that may or may not be true. They may or may not be ready to actually recognize and submit to one. Okay? I believe that I am, and all of you believe that too, at least for the majority of you. And so anybody that's heard me is found in Ephesians 4:11 teaching, but whether or not they want to actually accept that is a whole different deal, okay? Now, but anybody that's out there that's tithing, because they believe they're supposed to tithe, which you are, it should be given to where you are fed and counseled, okay? Where you're fed and counseled. So if you don't have a local congregation, well, let's put it this way. If you have a local congregation that you go to, no matter how much you're not thrilled with it, that's still where you're being fed. You should give your tithes there, okay? If you don't have a local congregation, then it should go to your teacher, if you have a teacher anywhere, especially the one that you call to counsel with, because that's the person who's ministering to you, okay? Tithes should not be like, well, I give $50 to this teacher and $50 to that teacher, because I've heard people do that. That's not tithing. Those are offerings. Your tithe, 100% of it goes to one place. And you got to find that one place. And yes, they do hold on to it, I guess, until they find it, but they're supposed to find somebody that it's supposed to go to. Okay? Thank you. You're welcome.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I have a question that I noticed during the congregation in the liturgy. Now, I didn't see you do it, so I looked to my teacher, but at different times throughout, there was the bowing. He had some bowing, some not bowing, some bowing at different times. Tradition, Torah.
Okay.
Please explain.
No
Thanks.
problem. And this is Dale from Australia. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, I mean, I know that the accent threw you a little bit. Okay, so, which, by the way, people down here in Tennessee hear me talking and they go, "You're not from around here, are you?" I said, no, the accent gave it away. They go, "Yeah." I said, "You're right, I'm from Alabama." And then they go, "No." Anyway, what you see during the liturgy, I have no idea who started it. Somebody was in our congregation started it. If you notice, I don't do it, okay? There's an essence from when you say Baruch, okay? Which is the beginning of those blessings says Baruch atah, right? Blessed are you. So that there's this idea that in the Hebrew it has the idea of bowing, okay? So there are those who say, when they say Baruch atah Yahweh, they'll bow. Or they feel like they're showing respect because Yahweh's name is in it. I don't know why they're all doing it. You have to ask them. I didn't teach them to do it, okay? Not a one of you heard that from me or learned it from me. I didn't teach you to do that, okay? And if you notice, I don't do it. Why? Because I don't understand why you're doing it. It's tradition, that's fine, nothing wrong with it, so I never stopped anybody from doing it. I mean, there are a few liturgical prayers that have bowing built into them, okay? So like in m.t.o.i, right? There I will bow, right? Okay, so I do it for that part, okay? There's a bending knee and bowing in the Aleinu, which we don't do yet, but we will. Okay, Brianna really wants us to add that in. But in the Aleinu, it actually says, and I will bend the knee and bow. It's actually in the words, okay? So I would bow for that. I'm not going to bow every time I say certain words because it's not required anywhere, okay? So does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. But that's a good question that local people, when visitors come and they see us, they get confused, and I get that. I'm confused too. I don't know who taught them or where it came from, but you know what happens? This should be a lesson to all of you. Don't just show up, watch what people are doing, and assume that it's the right thing to do. You should probably ask somebody, why are they doing that, okay? Because next you know, everybody's just following the blind. What you should do is watch me and see if I'm doing it. Of course, you look at Rebbe and she does it. So that confuses you. Because she likes the tradition, okay? Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know what? I have this thing about being a slave to tradition. So I'm pretty reluctant and resistant to just do things because of tradition, okay? All right. And now we have some more of our internationals. Okay, Yenny and Lisa.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so Yenny's from Denmark and Lisa's from Australia.
Yeah. This is to live stream over there. Live stream. Please come. Come. Because being here, I think about when the Israelites were at Mount Sinai. They could taste it, feel it. You can feel the rhythm here. You can't on live stream. Also when Rabbi yells, you can feel it. You can taste it. Yeah, please come.
Yeah, because on live stream you can just turn the volume down. It's not the same thing. Yeah, you can't turn the volume down here when I'm yelling at you.
And also the relationships, like Yanni and I haven't been able to spend enough time together to actually tell our life stories and get to know each other on a whole new level. And you just can't do that on Marco Polo. And especially being in the opposite time zones as well. We never get to sit and watch Zone 2. And they never get to sit and watch Zone 3. And so, yeah, I thought when I came here, I thought, oh, is she going to be like Hitler or is she going to be like, so I was just trying to work out sometimes she can be this and sometimes she can be that, but that's just her red personality. And I love her to death. So it was really great to spend time with her, and it was really worth the effort and everything to come here. And Rabbi, I still have probably 3 conversations I'd like to have with you at some stage, but I probably won't get a chance this trip.
Okay.
But you don't get to do those things when you're away, and sometimes you just need the time to be able to, even if it's stupid, just say whatever you're going to say. And so, yeah, I totally encourage everyone to come. But also, Rabbi, I wanted to share my frustrations with being overseas too, is because part of the way to get in here is to know which avenue to take, which we do the lawyer with, but often we have to tee up a job on the other end, and you can try and do what you do from overseas, but it really makes a huge difference when someone here actually knows an employer who can employ you. So I just wanted to sort of throw that out there. The international people need help, just in their job applications and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I think that was all I wanted to say.
All right.
But yeah, come.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, let me just say this, and just to repackage that. Look, you have opportunities, social media-wise, et cetera, to meet each other, okay? And what I think Lisa was trying to say was, hey, look, I've been friends with Yanni on Marco Polo for all this time, but what's it going to be like when we actually meet each other, right? But also, isn't it exciting to finally get to meet each other, because you were becoming friends in this sort of virtual world of technology. And so, also for some of you that have been on the live stream and following us, we know you a little bit, and then by the time you actually get here for like a Sukkot, it's so cool to get to put a face and get to really have you face to face and interact with you and break bread with you and all those kind of things. And so it's a very exciting thing that a lot of the people that come that are new are not so new. Like, we already kind of know you. You've counseled a little bit, we've dealt with some of your things, and we have a little bit of relationship building. And you have that also with each other if you've been interacting through the various technologies that are available to you. So that's always just a great thing. Okay, it's a great thing. All right. And that was a Denmark-Australia little connection. And they had to come to the U.S. to get connected. So look at that. Okay? All right. And then as far as the moving here, if you want to move, emigrate stuff, look, there's a lot of challenges with any of these type of moves. You'll have to talk to people, attorneys, et cetera. And as far as job applications, there is one thing as far as trying to get a job lined up before you come, where the job could try to request you to be here. It's not the same thing that she's talking about as far as just having a job. Because when you first get here, depending on your visa, you won't be allowed to work, okay? Because a lot of the different visas that they offer you, you have to wait 6 months to work, okay? So you'd have to come here prepared to handle that. So it really depends on the various things. So you need to talk to an attorney. No, sit down, okay? Okay? Because you have a limited expertise from your own efforts, Lisa. I appreciate that. But I'm telling you, after working with enough people, they have to just take their own situation to an attorney to find out what's going to happen, all right? Now, the easiest ways to get here, they'll tell you what they are depending on your situation, okay? And so just kind of keep that in mind. She's just giving you an idea that there are some things that could possibly make it easier, like having an employer here that would hire you. But you know what? That employer can't hire you and get you a visa to come over here if you're doing something they could get somebody else here to do easily enough, because they have to justify why they need you to do it. These are not simple things, okay? These are not simple things. Okay, now we have Kerry from Germany.
Hi. Sorry, I'm very nervous at the moment.
With a clearly German accent.
No, I'm actually from Australia.
I know that.
But I'm living in Germany with my husband and my 3 children. And I have been following you for, nearly 4 years. So I've waited a very, very long time to be able to come here, thanks to COVID. But it was really surreal and wonderful to be here. I thoroughly enjoyed my time. We're leaving on Monday, and it's really sad. I go back to watching you guys online. And let
that motivate you to figure out how to get here.
Yeah,
right? Let it motivate you.
it has just been really, really wonderful. Thank you for this Sukkot. It's been really, really great. It's been like coming home, I guess. So thank you very much to everybody. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And my only regret and challenge is that if only your children could get more excited about being here. They were jumping out of their skin excited when they got here, because it's got to be strange to a child to see you on a screen and then to see you in person after only seeing you on a screen, like you're a real person, and they think you're like famous or something because you're on a screen. And so the children was like, Rabbi, so they were so excited. It was so cool. Adele was just the best. She was just bouncing off the walls excited about being here. Okay, Odini.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to share a bit.
We got to put it right by your mouth.
I'm here to share a bit about my experience with Sukkot. The first thing that comes to mind is the growth, personal growth in terms of me being out there speaking, meeting people. And I learned that I am not crazy with my white personality because other people share the same experiences being dominant white. The fellowship is wonderful. I usually don't speak much in public, but the number of new faces and new personalities and new people that I've met over the course of the week was wonderful. I wish I could serve a bit more, but that is to come. But that's just a bit of my experience in a nutshell. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. You know, I really appreciate hearing from somebody who recognizes that one of the reasons I gave you the color code test, you know, the personality test, was to understand yourself better. And he's starting to realize, you know what, this white dominant part, you know, the red, white, blue, and yellow, is not maybe what works best in interacting in group dynamic, etc. So then I have to activate more one of the other colors that's helpful. So recognizing, learning more about yourself is definitely something that is great, especially when you can deal with that in a group dynamic. So appreciate that very much. All right, Ashley.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
I wanted to come up here and ask you a question about Shabbat, but I wanted to preface with you saying that I think I need a smack, but I want a hug. So, the last 3 years, because I guess I switched in during Sukkot when I met you. It's been very difficult. I'm so sick of the trial and errors, and we can never, we know when Shabbat is coming. It's an obvious when it's coming. We know when the holidays and the feasts are coming. And so we're planning for that, but something always seems to derail it, and I'm starting to realize it's the small things that matter for the big thing. How do we, what's a maybe a new way or a good idea that we can prepare better for Shabbat, not just physically with our Shabbat bag and getting the kids' clothes ready and our outfits ready, but also mentally and in our heart too.
All right. First of all, I love the statement you made about the little things that get you to the big things. That was really beautiful. Occasionally I talk about being, Shabbat-centric. Mm-hmm. I talk about being Chag or feast-centric as well. And so, in a Jewish mindset, okay, tomorrow is the first of the week, yes, but it's also how many days till Shabbat. Like every day it's 6 days to Shabbat, 5 days to Shabbat, 4 days to Shabbat. So that you're aware that we're aiming at Shabbat. So that our heart, our mindset is focused on the things that are going to get us to be ready for Shabbat. Okay? Look, my wife and I are doing this vow renewal thing. Okay, great. Guess what? We're very aware that that date is coming and there are things that have to be prepared for that. Okay? If you're having any kind of event, a wedding or some other thing, you have to plan for it. Okay? So you plan to come to feast. You plan for Shabbat. And so this way you don't end up getting to Friday like, I'm not ready, or Saturday morning and you didn't prepare. And so it's not just all the physical things, but it's also being mentally prepared for it. You're excited, okay, so that's sort of the mental part. You're excited about coming to Shabbat, to meeting with the King, for that refreshing that you get, the restoration that you get, the rest that you get, all right?
Okay, so if it sounds like it might actually have to go into counseling for further questions, but because I try to plan the food ahead of time. I can't plan that too far ahead because then the food and the meal won't be well enough to eat.
Well, you can't prepare it too far in advance, but you can buy the pieces of you need to make whatever you're making and keep that refrigerated, whatever. You haven't made it yet, but sure.
Okay.
But that's the physical part. You were asking about how getting your heart right.
Both.
Well, look, plan what you need. You can always make changes to it. If you're not prepared on any one particular day,
Okay.
sandwiches work real easy for everybody. If you need to just put peanut butter and jelly together, whatever for your kids, I don't know what they like, but you can do things very simple. Okay?
Then let me ask you this. I don't want it out there, but I don't care at the same time. You and I talked about this before when I got diagnosed that I'm bipolar. Is this one of those things again? Where I'm up and down, up and down, up and down?
You haven't given me enough information to say that. Look, I think most people, without being diagnosed as anything, have those up and down things during the week as they go from Shabbat to Shabbat. I think most people at times struggle with their preparedness for Shabbat because life happens and things come up and kind of distract us. And no, I don't think it's part of that. I think it's just part of the things that everybody goes through. It's life makes it, challenging because there's so many things that want to draw our attention. It's easy to get distracted from these things, okay? All right. Which is why I start mentioning things like Passover. I just mentioned that we're not going to be dealing with that till April, and I'm going to mention it now for the next, 4 months, just to kind of get you focused on it, all right? Or almost 6 months. Because you're going to get part of October, November, December, January, February, March. You're going to get all those months getting into April. It's not even until the end of April. So that you never forget that that's the next thing you're supposed to be focusing on, right? Okay. But every week you have Shabbat. It comes the same time every week. So you just have to develop a routine of preparedness for what you do on Shabbat. Okay? All right, you're welcome. And what I found for me and my wife is that often enough, we just keep it very simple. Okay? Just keep it very simple. All right, Melissa.
Shabbat Shalom. I want to say that the first 3 months I was here, I thought I was a Jew until someone lovingly pointed out I was an Israelite. And it's easy after so many years of being in a church to say God, Jesus, Lord, or in church. So, I correct myself, but I still do it. So we're creatures of habit. It takes a long time to get that out. But my question is kind of like compound. I read the King James Bible over and over and over, so that's ingrained in my head. So when I want to think about something, I have to go back to the scriptures to see. And so while doing so, I went to Matthew 6 because Yahweh was showing me things about seeking Him first, and then other things would come. Especially, I thought I was falling apart, but He showed me that He's taken things away from me. And so it's when I hear all the songs Brianna sings, it really ministers to me. Even before I came here, the words would stick in my head. But when I hear songs that Yahweh loves me, or I read it, I say, really? I always say that every time, really? And then I was like, why would you love me? And so I have a hard time. He's taught me to trust Him. But so when I read Matthew 6, it was talking about the hypocrites, how they would do kind deeds for show, and they fasted for show, and they prayed for show, and there was hypocrites. And He said not to do them, because when He is in His secret place, that He sees what we do. And it says when you go in to pray, go in and close the door. But one of my questions is how... when we were in the church, we sang a song, "Come into the King's Chambers, and you'll never be the same." So I know we should be humble and pray, but how can we go into meet Him in His secret place?
Well, look, where you spend time with someone really has to do with the level of relationship, right? If I barely know you, I might not even have you at my house. You may not have me at your house. I get to know you a little better. We may go and meet at a place like a restaurant or something like that. I know you a little better. You may invite me over to your place. I may invite you over to mine. So socially, we're interacting, right, because of the level of relationship. And so it's kind of like the way the tabernacle or the temple was built, right? You had the outer court, then the inner court, then you had the Holy of Holies. And so the level of relationship brought you into the closer thing. So the answer is simply keep building the relationship, and then you get more intimacy with the King.
Okay, also, how can I don't want it to be head knowledge that he loves me, and I've learned to trust him, and he's brought me so far, but I mean, I just have this hard time receiving that he loves me, or even why he would love me or choose me. And so...
Okay, so let me answer that simply first. Hold on. If you had a child, remember he made you, so you're his child. And you had a child, and that child came out deformed, handicapped in some even grotesque way. Wouldn't you still love the child? It's your child. I've watched parents with incredible love for some pretty messed up kids. I mean, not their fault or anything, but they were just born with some really challenging handicaps, but you love the child. We are very grossly deformed, handicapped people. Maybe not physically, but in all the other dumb things that we do. And some of us have totally healthy physical babies who then grow up to be sort of grossly deformed in the way they think, but yet we still love them. We still love them. Why? Because we made them. There's a connection that only can be to a parent and a child. So the Father loves you because he made you.
Okay.
Not because of anything you did or didn't do. Okay, whether you make it into the kingdom or not, he's not going to stop loving you. But he's going to love you because he made you.
Okay.
So maybe you can now receive his love a little differently because you're trying to think, what's there about me that he can love? Just your existence, he made you. So he loves you. He may not love everything you do. Okay, there's a difference. But he loves you. Okay?
Okay, so one thing that I struggle with is to figure out, I was always somebody's wife, somebody's mother, somebody's something or another, slave, Cinderella, or whatever. And so I try to look inside and see who I am, and I just kind of don't know how to ask the right questions. Last time I wanted to see some questions about myself, I got on a dating site, and I thought it looked pretty good, so I ended up married, but I don't want to do that again. But I just need to know how to figure out who I am in him and the real me, you know, because it's just me now. And so who am I? How do you find out? I know everybody has those questions, but, you know, it's just...
Look, this is a challenging question a lot of people have, trying to figure out, well, I don't know who I am or whatever. It's got to come down to two things, I guess, okay? One is, who do you want to be? Okay? In other words, and what are your preferences, okay? You know, you got to see yourself. Like, if you could be whatever you would really think you would want to be, what do you want to be? And you're not all of that. Whatever's not there yet, work towards those things. And as far as being whatever you are in him, it doesn't matter what you are as long as you are submitted to him. That's the part. Okay, so you could be a housewife and be in a relationship with him. You could be a neurosurgeon and be in a relationship with him. It doesn't matter what you do as long as it's Torah that you're surrounding all those things with. So you're still keeping Shabbat no matter what. You're still eating right. You're still submitted to all of the Torah commands in terms of how we interact with each other, loving him, loving each other. So it's not so much that he would matter or he would care about what you choose to do, because often we define who we are by what we do, but who do you want to be? Okay? He allows you to decide what that looks like.
Well, I want to thank you because it'll be 2 years next month that I found you. And, of course, the first thing I wanted to know was y'all filled with the Holy Ghost, you know. And even when my husband died, I was praying in tongues. But so the first thing I listened to was the Ruach Spirit, and I just believed it. Whenever I listened to your teaching, whatever it is, I just receive it and believe it. And that's one less thing that I can clean out. And so I learned from you the last 2 years is I've learned not to judge people. And I was blue. I was very judgmental. So I have learned to correct myself real fast when some thoughts come to my head or something comes out of my mouth. I was like, wait, even when I write, I was like, let me correct that. I look at it and I correct myself. Even when I read the word, I see myself in it. I learn not to take on people's burdens, and I learn to keep my mouth shut. And not, y'all think I'm mouthy, but have really come a long way.
Well, hold on, let me interrupt because I want to, before I forget the three things you just mentioned. See, that's part of you figuring out who you want to be. I'm a person who learns to keep my mouth shut. I'm a person that, is self-correcting. Okay, so you said 2 or 3 things. I can't maybe remember all 3 of them, but you're describing the person you want to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're becoming that person. I'm a person that self-corrects. I'm a person that, doesn't just run my mouth. I'm a person that, whatever else, the other things you were talking about, you're describing these growth changes that you made, mm-hmm. because those are changes towards becoming that person you really want to be. Mm-hmm. Okay?
So I've learned just to accept people the way they are, and I want to be that person when people come here, that I reach out and to them and love them, be the grandma, the mother, whatever I can be, the aunt.
That was the other thing you said, something about judging, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to be a person who doesn't judge. Mm-hmm. You want to be a person that accepts people as they are. So that's you becoming the person that you were asking about initially. Well, so you're already doing it.
I owe that all to you and Yahweh. Like when I don't know if you've ever jumped off of...
Wait. You don't owe it all to that. Because we could have given you the thought, but you could have done nothing. Mm-hmm. But you've made the effort. You say you are self-correcting now. Yeah. You are doing better with judging. So you need to take credit for your part. Yeah. Because then you'll start feeling a little better about yourself because you did the work. I'll take credit for maybe giving you some of the thoughts, and he'll take credit for all the rest of it. But if you didn't do anything with it, there's no credit to be given. Okay, so you get credit because you did the work.
Mm-hmm. So it's like whenever you take the jump, like if you've ever jumped off a bank into the water, you're free falling. There's nothing to hold on to. So that's how it is when I thought I was falling apart, but I was not feeling well. But he was also taking things away from me and molding me into him. And so it was free falling. It's the only way I know how to. Sure. That's the only way. You have nothing to hold on to, but you just take the plunge and deep calls to deep. And so I'm just grateful to be here. And is there a law against kidnapping brothers and sisters that want to go back? I mean, can we just hold them here?
Probably not, because they probably like you to kidnap them anyway.
They can miss their flight or their boat or plane, and we just keep them away.
You can't do that because we have to deal with immigration. But at some point they're going to figure out how they could stay anyway. They're all trying to get that worked out. So we need is our own Messianic Torah observant immigration attorney. Okay. All right, Brianna.
Hi. So I was going to talk about the feast experience a little bit.
Good. And for all of you online who don't know, this is my beautiful daughter, Brianna.
Also, real fast, I don't want to overstep or anything, but when she's talking about loving, like how can you think Yahweh loves you? I feel like since you don't really have that blue side of you, you might not have that. You might not be able to sympathize with that, but I know a lot of people do feel that way. I think you have to be very purposeful with when you think about yourself, and you have to value yourself, similar to what we talked about last night about how he was Adam was supposed to guard, but you have to guard your life. And so guarding your life means you value yourself. You don't allow things to make you feel that way. And then you also have to love yourself, because how can you receive his love if you don't feel that for yourself? So I just wanted to say that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. Okay, so for the feast experience, I just wanted to say that thinking about marketing, since that's all I think about now, talking to everybody, every feast, you always are like, oh, volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. In our nature, we want to seek things, especially if we're paying for something, right? We pay for something expecting to receive a lot, right? Because we're wanting to receive the blessing, always. That's what we seek. We buy the best this because it's going to give us something. You're trying to market to everybody to come to the feast, but what are you asking of them? You're asking them to put themselves in the server position instead of receiving everything. Not that you're not going to receive, but you're asking of them to come here, and you still have to pay, but you're also going to be working, you're going to be serving. And so I think everybody, aware or not, you unconsciously are like not going to want that, because we're very selfish people. And so why would we want to take away from our feasts and come here and have to serve a bunch of people that we don't even know, when we could just be sitting down and listening to the teachings, you know?
Which, by the way, takes away from their feast.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people just need to be more self-aware about like that bad nature that's in us. When we have the choice to come here and actually do something, rather than always being the one that has to receive everything, because that's part of the blessing of Torah. Woo, right. Mercy. Okay. Anyway, besides that.
Wait, hold on. But that's so important. Look, all of you out there, I promise you, and you maybe need to ask somebody who did this, everybody that served, especially those who served like more than just one little shift, I promise you had a better feast than you did. If you did not, if you didn't serve, I'm telling you, okay? Those who served, I promise you, had a more blessed, enjoyable feast, even though they missed some things, but you missed what they got, okay? All right? Plus, the reason you were able to enjoy clean bathrooms and clean rooms and good food and great programs for the children, and the safety of everything, is because we had people volunteering to do all those things that you benefited from. And so why wouldn't you want to be a part of those providing as opposed to just those receiving? You're missing out, okay? You think that you're going to miss out by volunteering. No, you're missing out by not volunteering, okay? All right. And Brianna, by the way, not only leads the praise, but she was also a katane teacher.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk
about. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.